Hello, hello. Happy New Year. So excited to do this first live stream of the new year. And just want to check in to make sure that you can hear me. So if you are joining live and you can hear me, type in where you're joining from and that you can hear me. All right. Good morning, Venus. Thank you. Welcome, welcome. So excited to be here today. I have a live stream that talks about something that I have been thinking about for a while now. I am in the process of writing my third book, and my third book is about why I had to get to France and and what that has a theme of home. What is home? And I had a couple of conversations recently, and I wanted to bring this topic up because I know that many of you are maybe looking to move abroad but aren't really sure where. And so figuring out the where is really important, but you want to make sure that it's going to feel homey. And so how can you do that? So I'm going to talk a lot about what's home and what makes a home, what you believe feels like home, and some of the reasons people struggle to find a country and a city or town within that country in order to call home. All right, so we're going to dig in. I see some more people have joined. Igami, welcome. Happy New Year. Hi, Dion. Pearl from Georgetown, Texas. And Venus is from Syracuse, New York. All right. So looks like we've got some people who are ready to have a good conversation. So as I said, I'm going to talk about home, finding home abroad, and what might keep you from finding that place. All right. So first off, I want to introduce myself. I am Patricia Brooks, and 6 years ago this month, I got on a plane bound for France to move here. And it's been an incredible experience. And now I help other women who have this dream of living abroad, but for whatever reason, they struggle to move through all of the challenges of getting there. And I help them to build the confidence in themselves and the courage so that they can go from just pining about this thing that they've been wanting for a really long time, and they can actually start living their dream in their dream country, right? And that's what I do. That's who I am. And today we're going to talk about home. All right. So, as I stated, I am writing my third book, and it's about why I had to move to France all of a sudden. I hadn't had this lifelong dream to move to France, but all of a sudden, there it was, and I needed to be here. And so I unpack in this book that I was supposed to have completed the draft of at the end of December, and we are January 2nd. And I'm still working on it diligently. It will get done very soon. I am really excited about the progress I'm making and how the quality of the chapter. So I know when I go back to revise it, it's going to be much easier. But having said that, I've spent a lot of time thinking about home, right? There's a theme of home, finding home, that runs throughout the book. And quite recently, I had a couple of conversations about what was home. I had a friend who was visiting from Sweden. She has a house nearby, and she's a little bit nomadic. And that's not something that I ever see myself doing, but she has been for a while. And I asked her if she thought that Sweden was her home, if that felt like home to her. And she said, well, no, not really. It's not, it doesn't, I'm not sure really. Right. She says some parts of it she likes, some parts of it she's not so sure. She's been there 3 years. There's an element of she's got a daughter that she's got to think about too, and she's got a stable job now. So there are some things that are kind of keeping her from really knowing what home feels like to her. And I think one of the questions I have for you, about home is, do you know what home feels like to you, or what constitutes home for you? Let me know in the chat. As you do that, I'm going to share what she said. She said, "Well, I have, my childhood was not necessarily a normal childhood or a happy childhood, and so I don't necessarily have fond memories of home. And so there was this kind of disconnect of, well, I'm looking for something that I don't necessarily know I ever really felt." And so I think that element there is something that is keeping her a little bit stuck and saying that she's not sure. I get a sense that it is not. That was my sense just in the way she answered it. When you ask somebody, "Oh, does this feel like home?" The response is either automatic and immediate, that says, "Oh yeah, this is it. This is my happy place," or it's not. So, what are your thoughts on what makes something a home? What makes something feel like a home? Okay. I For me, I chose Perpignan in my first year here in France, and that was because as soon as I walked out of the train station and down the palm tree lined street, there was something that came over me that made me think that felt like home. And so I moved there, and I lived there for an entire year. But the problem was that I couldn't find, in that whole year, I couldn't find the neighborhood that felt like home to me. And I'd walked Perpignan up one way and down the other, looking for this place that felt like home in Perpignan. And I'll tell you what one of the things that I was looking for, some of the things I was looking for in a home in Perpignan, in a place, in a neighborhood, not necessarily the apartment or the house, but was that would have its own boulangerie and sidewalk cafes that felt intimate, like a smaller part of town that had small family-run cafes and boulangeries, or a cafe and one boulangerie, so that it felt like it had that feel. And I couldn't find that in Perpignan. And so that was one thing that made me say, yeah, when I landed in Perpignan, this felt like home. And this was the place for me. But as the months wore on and I couldn't find the place, and it was time for me to renew my visa and I needed another address, I said, I have to look outside the city. But another thing that caused me to feel like Perpignan wasn't home for me anymore was, while I was living in an apartment that was beautifully done inside and it had an American sized refrigerator, I I did not like the view. It looked out onto across the street to another building that was vacant. And so it was not being kept up. And it was ugly. It was just ugly. So here I am living in the south of France in this nice apartment, but my view was less than spectacular. So that was important to me too. So as I'm talking about this, what things that I couldn't find in Perpignan and that I was looking for in a home, as you are potentially looking for a new place to live, what sorts of things are you considering or would like to see or have in that place that you call your next home? Okay, let me know that in the comments, and I'll share those as those come in. So those were a couple of things that didn't make it feel so good in Perpignan toward the end, right? But I like the region. The region was wonderful. It still had a good feel to it. It was just Perpignan was no longer my city. And so I I decided I was going to have to move out to a smaller town. And when I first visited Serre, the village that I'm in now, it was on market day, and it was a lovely day in spring, my first year here. And I hadn't considered moving here, but toward the end of the year, when I was looking for another place, I thought I need to revisit. And I did. And I came back and I did not have that feeling, that immediate feeling that, oh, yeah, this is home for me, as I had with Perpignan. There's a quote I absolutely love, and it is, I'm going to share that with you. It's, Here we go. Home isn't a place, it's a feeling. And so that was something that I felt in Perpignan. But when I went to Surrey to visit to see if that would be home, I didn't have that feeling, not immediately. Which leads me to my second point, but I see I have some comments. So let's see what we got here. Okay. So I asked the question, what things are you looking for in a new home? And Dion says, coming from the Bay Area, it was the beautiful water, clean air, and farmers markets. People were happy and out walking, just not just in their cars. All right. Yes. So beautiful water, beauty, right? I'm seeing a theme start here. Clean air, farmers markets, right? Yeah, that interaction with people at markets and in shops. It's very similar to what I was kind of looking for. And people were happy and out walking, not just in the cars. Now, Dion, I have something funny to share with you. One of the reasons that I'm writing this book as, well, why France, Patricia? Why did you decide to go to some place where you're not going to have some things that you might find very inconvenient? One of those things was that in Perpignan, and a little bit here where I am now too, is that people didn't seem happy, but I didn't notice that in the beginning. But when I got here, it was like, oh, did I pick the right place? Because I'm really happy and these people aren't. So but I'm glad you pointed that out, Dion, so I could share that. Let's see what else we got here. We've got another comment, sense of community. Yes, sense of community. And I think for me, looking for a family-run boulangerie or a sidewalk cafe, that's what I was looking for. Yes, in the center of Perpignan, there are cafes, there are boulangeries, but they seem a little bit bigger and less intimate, less intimate is what I want to say. So sense of community is a good one. Thanks for sharing that, Chris. And what else do we have? Ah, all right, Orletta. Hi, Orletta. How are you? A view. Yes. What I loved about Colorado Springs were the mountain views from all over the cities. All right. So that leads me into this other point that I want to share. So I moved to Surrey. Well, I visited Surrey in thinking that maybe I'd move here, but I didn't have that feeling like, yeah, this is the place I need to live next. But I was willing to give it a try. There was nothing that said no, it's not the place, and it was a beautiful town. And so I decided to move here. I found an apartment, and and what sold me on moving here without necessarily being certain was the view that I have from my living room. And I've got two big French doors, and one of them looks out onto Mount Canigou, which is this iconic mountain in this region. And in the wintertime, normally, not right now, but normally it's snow capped, and I can see the tops of that mountain, and it's just gorgeous. And I'm surrounded by mountains on three sides. It just feels really good to me. So, Orletta, yes. Mountain views are important to me, but I didn't know that, because growing up, I wasn't around mountains, but I know that now. All right. Hi, Shine Bright. Happy New Year. Hi, Larry de Paris. Bonsoir. All right. Bonne année. Shine bright. I want a walkable, vibrant neighborhood. Yeah, because I think that also kind of gives us that sense of community. Having it walkable just really gets you in touch with a place as well. I know that if I travel to a place and maybe I have a layover, or maybe I'm just there for a day and I haven't been able to walk around and really kind of start to get to know the streets, it doesn't feel like I've gotten to know the place. And so I think having a place being walkable, you really get to know that place. So yes. Southern Rose Tia D, a city that has many museums and libraries and history. I love ancient cities, and they always feel like home to me. Yes, yes. And so you're starting to share what makes home. Do you have you guys, if you're planning a move abroad, have you chosen a country? Have you chosen a city? Or are these just ideas that you have that will help you as you continue to explore? Let me know that in the comments as well. Yes, I've never been to Colorado, but I do hear it's beautiful. All right. Good morning from Kenya. Yes. Okay. So, so let me get back on track if I can remember where I was. So I decided to move here because I it it felt like it might be okay. And then when I saw my apartment view, I'm like, okay, this is where I need to be. And in the first year, it felt good. It didn't feel wrong, but it didn't necessarily feel like home. The a second conversation I had just this weekend was over dinner with a couple. He was an architect or is an architect. And he said that and we had this conversation. I asked, I was talking about my book and, what makes home. And he said that there was some organization that was doing a study about um, what makes a place or a city or a town or an area feel good, feel like home. And there's so many elements that go into it. But one of the things that stood out to me that he said was that it's not necessarily once you move there, it doesn't necessarily mean, or once something is built, a building is built or a city is built, that you move there and it feels like home, because there is something that he said called a time scale, where it takes time for things to settle and for the area to kind of have get its own kind of personality. And I think for me, that is what has happened here for me. Right? It's a beautiful place. I didn't have that automatic feeling that this felt like home, and over time, it has started to feel more and more like home. And I think one of the things is the that community, right? I feel like now that I have been here in this village for 5 years, people know me. And so when I come down from the hills from my morning walk, I'm bound to see 3 or 4 people. And so I know now I need to tack on an extra 10 minutes so that I can stop and chat and really enjoy that time. So those are some things for me that home feels like, feels really grounding to me. I think that's the other thing. I had a choice when I was in Perpignan. I could have gone closer to the Mediterranean Sea, or I could have gone closer to the Pyrenees Mountains. And I decided to go to the mountains because it felt really grounding to me. All right. So that's a bit about what feels like home to me, what some of the things that feel like home to me, the nature, right? And the mountains, as I spoke about. All right. So I want to move on to the second part of this conversation, because I don't see any comments about people who have actually selected a place. If you are planning a move abroad and you know where you want to go, let me know where you want to go in the comments, and I will bring that up and talk about that. Okay. So the second part of this is that I speak to a lot of people who are, um, interested in moving abroad, but they're not really sure where. They're not really sure where, and they struggle to, choose a place. And it's so important to choose a place that feels it's so important to choose a place, because until you choose the place you want to move to, then moving abroad feels a little bit out of reach, because you don't know what the requirements are. You don't even know if they will have a visa that will be suitable for you, right? And so if you have 4 or 5 or 10 places that you could live, then that idea of, oh, I've got so much selection, you kind of get paralyzed in that selection. So choosing a place is really important, but it's really hard as well. And there are 3 reasons for that. The first one is, I find that people are unsure of where they want to move to because they haven't traveled enough, right? They have this sudden urge, maybe it's not a sudden urge, but they have this urge to live in a foreign country, but yet they haven't been to many foreign countries. And so they don't really, have names on a page. Maybe they've done some research, maybe they've watched some YouTube videos, but they don't really have a sense for that place. And haven't traveled enough. And that was kind of like me, but France chose me. The French language chose me. That was what I needed to be around. I needed to be around people who were speaking French, because speaking French fluently was my goal, right? So that was a little bit different, but because I hadn't traveled a whole lot. I hadn't been to France until 2015. And 3 years later, I moved here. Okay. But I think not having traveled enough is definitely a challenge. Um, Another reason, and stay tuned to the end, because I do have a giveaway that will help you if you are struggling to choose a country. This will help you to narrow down your area or region, area of the world or region, so that then you can travel a little bit more there and explore a little bit more there, so that you're not thinking, well, I'd love to travel more. I'd love to pick a region, but I just don't have the funds to travel everywhere I want to go. All right. So stay tuned to the end, because I want to give you that link so you can download that. So that's reason number one. Can you relate to this reason? I really want to move someplace. I want to live in a foreign country. I want the cultural experiences, but I'm not really sure where. And maybe it's because I haven't been exploring or exposed to many different countries. Give this video a thumbs up and let me know in the comments if that's the case for you. Okay. So the second reason that people struggle to make a move or to decide on the place to move is that they aren't really sure. They can't envision what they will be doing when they are living in this new place. Now, when I say this, part of the work that I do with the women in my program is getting them to understand who what kind of life they want to have in their new country. They vision their life and the things that they're going to do and have and be and experience. A lot of times I speak to people who have kind of lost touch with that side of them, whether it's because they have been busy raising a family or their work has just taken over and they just haven't had time to explore and do the kinds of things that they thought they wanted to do in their youth. And now they just don't even know what those things are anymore. They've kind of lost touch with that. And I think that they struggle to choose a place because they don't really have an idea of what their life will look and feel like, what sorts of things they will be doing, what hobbies they will be doing. And I think that's important, because if, for example, I went on a couple of dates just last week with 2 different guys, and one was, both of them lived near the Mediterranean, right? And they lived there for a reason. One of them was a kite surfer, right? Another one was a diver, right? So I live 40 minutes from the Mediterranean, but if those are my hobbies or those are the things that I do, where I live now, as nice as it is, probably isn't going to fit the bill. And so if you are not sure of the activities that you're going to take part in, or what you foresee for your life, then it's harder to say, oh, this is the place, or that is the place. I think for me, my hobby was learning French, or is still learning French. And so if I went to Spain, I wouldn't be able to do that there. So that's the point that I'm making here. I think one of the things that, people get out of touch with who they are and the things they like to do and what pastimes they want to pursue. And I remember I did a video a long time ago. I don't even know if it's still out there, on how to stop hating your job. And one of the tips in that was to find hobbies that you want to pursue and pursue them, because a lot of times we'll just be going into a job that maybe isn't the right job anymore, but we need to pay the bills. And we get so bogged down in that we come home and then we binge watch something on TV, and then the weekend's there and then you're tired and you're not doing the things that you may want to do. You haven't even explored that. And so finding a hobby and seeing if that's something that you want to do now, right here, right now, is, I think, important, because then that can help to inform where you move. Okay. So I see, Venus has commented, I really don't have the experience of travel. So many places seem exciting. Yeah. So I guess the question there I have is, what is there? And this, I think this handout that I will share the link with you later will help. But is there some place, start somewhere, right? Is there one place that, you just really want to see, and start there, because I think then that will help you to shows you what you like, what appeals to you, what doesn't appeal to you. Maybe you want to travel to Japan and you're in the US and you do it, right? And you get on that long ass flight and you recognize, I like the travel, I like that experience, but that was a little bit much for me. Maybe I'll do something a little closer. And so then that will then help you to figure out what that next trip will be. So hopefully that's helpful, Venus. All right. So that's the second reason, that people aren't really sure how they envision their life. They're not really sure what they're going to do in that place. And so, and any place will do, because there's not anything necessarily specific that is pointing them in one direction or another. All right. And then the third reason that people struggle with choosing a country to move to is that is a big decision, right? To start over in a new country. It's a big decision. And people can feel a little bit like they have to get it right the first time around, right? And I think that it's nice to be able to get it right the first time around. I feel like I got pretty close. I chose a city that was very close to the place that I found home in, a year later. But what if you choose a country and it's not something that is right for you? Then what? Well, I think that varies. Like, if you know that living in a foreign country is for you, but the country you chose, the culture, whatever, didn't click with you, isn't the right one, that doesn't mean that you necessarily have to go back to the country you came from. You can decide to pivot and choose another country, right? Like I was saying with Venus, you will have learned so much about yourself and about what you like and what you don't like in having just made that move, that moving to another country, that chances that you'll get it right the second time will be that much higher, because you've had that experience and you know what you like and what you don't like. All right. And maybe you will do a little bit more research on something that maybe slipped through the cracks initially with the country that you chose. All right. If you move abroad and you decide, yeah, no, I don't know what I was thinking, I don't like being away from the country I came from, and you move back, that's not a failure at all. That is success, because you have done the thing that you said that you wanted to do. You won't have the question about, oh, I wonder what would have been if I moved to Spain, if I moved to Italy, if I moved to France. No, you have checked that off, and you can be satisfied, and you can go back to the country you came from if living in a foreign country isn't for you, and do that. So I think that the idea that we have to get it right is can be overpowering, and it can paralyze us. So um, I think deciding and picking a country is the next step for you if you have not done that, in order to gain traction and get that going and make it happen for you. Because until you do that, like I said, it's kind of like it's hard to plan. It's even hard to envision yourself there because it's so vague. I know when I talk to women on my the complimentary sessions and they're interested in signing up and they do, what the question I ask once they do is I ask them, how do you feel? And they always say, "Oh, this just got real. I feel a little bit nervous. I feel a little bit scared, but taking this step really makes this feel like this is going to happen." And I think there's something similar that happens when you choose a country, when you choose a city in a country, and yeah, that's where I'm going to be landing, right? I think it's really a powerful thing. All right. Another comment here. Let's see. Chris. Yes, visualizing what I'm going to do, who I'm going to be in this new place, wherever it is the challenge. My life has been nomadic, and without that self-definition, locations are just geography. Ah, that's quotable. Locations are just geography. Thank you, Chris. Yes. 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 And so you've had the experience of living in lots of different places, and I think you probably can attest to the fact that, oh, there's certain things that you really like about, certain countries, and certain things you don't, and that kind of gives you a better sense of who you are and what you like and what you're looking for. So, thank you for sharing that. All right. So, what questions do you have for me about home, finding home, my experience here in France? I'm going to open it up, and if we don't have any questions, I'm going to go ahead and close out. Do want to share with you that that resource I have. It's called "Where Should I Relocate?" and it's a questionnaire that will help you to kind of look at certain things that you might not even be thinking about, like proximity to where you currently are, or if you are going to travel quite a bit, having an truly international airport, within a certain distance. Those things like that can help you to narrow down, or whether you want to learn a new language, or if you need to be in an English speaking country, things like that can help narrow down the region or geography, so that again, you can get out and explore a little bit more, and then find what you like, what you don't like, and where your next home could possibly be. So let me go ahead and put this resource, if I can find it. All right. Got too many things here. All right. Oh, here we go. Here we go. So this is the Where You Should Relocate quiz. It's thecouragecatalyst.com/pick a country. Thecouragecatalyst.com/pick a country. You can download that free and do the questionnaire, and that will give you some insights into, at least a region of the world that you might want to explore as you decide on what country might be right for you. All right. So let me see. We got here. Okay. So there's another question here. How do you choose a starting point regarding the city? Not sure I'm clear on the question. So if you have chosen a country, then how do you narrow it down to a city? Is that the question, Venus? Let me know. For me, um, I didn't really know. I knew that I'd visited Paris in 2015 and Aix-en-Provence in 2016, no, 2015 as well. And those places were nice, but it didn't do anything for me. It wasn't like, oh yeah, I got to live here. So in 2016, when I came back to do a scouting trip, a real scouting trip, I started out in Toulouse, and nice, pretty city, nice size, has lots of amenities there. But I didn't feel anything. But while I was there, I took a day trip, took a 2-hour train ride to Perpignan because I'd read about it in a guidebook, right? I hadn't heard of Perpignan. But what stood out to me was there was a pretty picture in the book, right? And there was the story of how Salvador Dali called the train station there the center of the world, right? And I was like, that's kind of unusual. I want to see that. And so I took the train, got out in the train station, just a normal train station, nothing spectacular. But when I did walk out of the train station onto that palm tree lined street, it was a chilly day in May, it was drizzly, it was not so picturesque, but I felt something. There was a feeling that it was like, oh yeah, I think I just found my new home. And the feeling was a feeling of freedom. It was just, I don't know, it was just undeniable. I had to stop and look up at the palm tree that was next to me because it felt so good to me. I was like, yeah, I think I just found my new home. So yes, so and I think it's a matter of one of the things I will say to your question, Venus, is how I did my scouting trip. So I knew it was France. I thought maybe Canada, but I reconsidered because I don't do well with the cold. So then I decided France, came to France for the first time, and I could see myself living here, but like I said, not in those two cities. And so I planned a scouting trip. One of the things that I, in hindsight, now know is that I planned a scouting trip to big cities or bigger cities. And I'm not a big city person at all. I've never lived in a city in my adult. Since I was 3, I've never lived in a big city. So the reason I chose the cities, I went to Toulouse, Lyon. Where else did I go? Oh, I can't remember now, but I chose big cities and they weren't for me. And had I not gone on that little day trip, I might not have found Perpignan, a smaller city. And again, it was a city. And here I am in an 8,000 person village. So it was not knowing myself. And so I say that, Venus, to say that, the country, that's great. But what are your preferences? Do you want to be in a big city? Do you like a smaller town? What size of city or town do you feel most comfortable in? Do you want a small village, right? I find now that, I love it here. It's a little small. Like, most people know you. And so it can have that small town feel. Is that something that you like or don't like? I think in doing that can help to narrow your focus. And so then you can say, oh, I'm a medium-sized city kind of person, and I want to be no further than, an hour and a half or 2 hours from an international airport, because one of the reasons that I'm just making this up, one of the reasons that I'm moving abroad is so that I can be able to explore neighboring countries, right? So I think that can help you to narrow down regarding city, and then just do some research, right? So for me, my research was, what are the big cities? And then I just went to big cities, but maybe what are the big cities? And then for me, what are the smaller towns or villages around that might have a nice vibe to help you out there? So Venus, let me know if that helps answer your question, or if you have a further question from that. All right. And then Igami has a question. Have you built community with other Black people in France? Has that been a priority for you? So um, I think that if it what so yes, I will answer that briefly. I have a, a few, not a ton of Black friends here in France, just because there are not that many of us in my village. But I do, the woman who was visiting, she's African American. Well, no, she's Canadian, but she's Black. My good friend Biani, he is from Mali, and we hang out from time to time. So I do have a handful of Black friends, but it's not this big expat community here of Black expats. There are quite a few expats, mostly from Britain. But, and I will say that it wasn't necessarily a priority for me. I, I think that if it had been, I think going to a larger city would have been the way to go, because then there's going to be a critical mass there where that could be something that I did. So hopefully that answers your question. All right. All right. So well, that is really my talk about home and what is home. I did want to share this other quote with you that feels good to me, and I think you might like it as well, by Maya Angelou. The ache for home lives in all of us, the safe place where we can go as we are and not be questioned. That really spoke to me when I read it, so I wanted to share that with you. All right. So I don't see any more questions. If you are someone who is looking for a new home abroad in a foreign country, but aren't able to figure out where, then definitely take advantage of this questionnaire. Um, Go to thecouragecatalyst.com/pick a country, download that, answer that questionnaire. And if after you do that, you are feeling like, yeah, I'm ready to, take my move abroad seriously, and I am ready to uh, get that feeling, take that next step, and feel like this is really happening. I'd love to have a conversation with you. As I said, I help women who are ready to stop thinking about moving abroad. They're sick and tired of having this dream and it going nowhere. And I help them move through that overwhelm and that indecision and that fear, because quite frankly, fear is at the root of a lot of things that we don't do or that we procrastinate on. And I help them to build the confidence and the courage and figure out who it is that they need to become and build those habits so that they can see themselves living and thriving in a foreign country. And they go through the process, which is the online curriculum that takes them through the visioning. What is it that I want to see, be, have, do in this new place? And so you have that vision, and it's strong, and it guides you, it anchors you in your desire to move abroad. So when it gets hard, you're able to just, wave away the issues that you might be having, and then building that belief in yourself and the habits that will make you do the things that are necessary, the hard things sometimes that are necessary, and then build that plan to help you close out your old life in your old country and start opening up your new life in your new country, so that when you get there, it's smooth sailing. There's the curriculum, there's the weekly group coaching and mentoring calls that are there to help guide you, help you with accountability, help you with the lesson portion, help you with networking and the camaraderie of like-minded women who are doing the same thing, who are ready to help support you. And they're going through some things too. And so they're being coached. And so you're hearing things and thinking about things that you might not be thinking about on your own. So it's amazing. And then there's that private Facebook community where you can share your wins, or you can post the things that you were supposed to do and stay accountable to that. And so it's a really robust program. So anybody who is looking to have some support in their move abroad, whether it be in the program, I also do one-on-one coaching as well. Be sure to schedule a call with me, a complimentary discovery call with me. And you can go do that at thecouragecatalyst.com/future expat. And we can have a conversation to see where you are and what it is that you hope to do and where you hope to move to. And how I might be able to help you to make that move happen sooner and with more ease, and have the support of me and a like-minded community to help you get there. All right. So if you're tired, like I said, if you're tired, and that's where I was like, okay, it's time. I am ready to be in France already. And I hired a coach to see my blind spots and move through them. And it took me a year. I signed up with my coach in, I think, February of 2016, and by 2017, and by January of 2018, I was living abroad. So it's the next step. It's the next step. All right. So if there are, I see one more comment. Okay. How long is the coaching program? Several weeks. So the Carefree Expat Incubator Program, which I spoke about, is a program that has 8 lessons. So you could do a lesson a week and complete those lessons, a lesson a week. And then the program itself, you have access to the group coaching calls for 3 whole years. So that means if you're planning a move abroad in the next 12 or 18 months, you do the work required to make that move abroad, you get abroad, and then you have time still to join the coaching calls once you're abroad, which means that if you are, you get there and things aren't quite like you expected, like they were for me, then you have a sounding board, you have a coach and a community where you can raise questions and not feel like you're making a move abroad all alone. Because that for me was a challenge. I'd done this incredible thing and I was on cloud 9 for the first 2 weeks, 3 weeks. And then it was like, oh no, what have I done? I quit my job. I moved to France. I don't know anybody. Was this so smart? And so for those first several months, I was, this back and forth with this tug of war. So having that support after you move, I think, is crucial as well. So hopefully that answers your question. All right. And Chris has a question for me about now that I'm settled, what are some of the challenges you face that you couldn't have seen when you first decided to move? Well, I mean, the first one that comes to mind was as soon as I got here, right? I rented an apartment online, right? And it was a charming apartment, but when I got here, it had a horrible odor of sewer gas. Right. So here I've signed this year lease and I can't live in it because it stinks. So that was something that took me off guard. I was fortunate enough to find another apartment that was not too far away, that where the landlord was a doctor, and he recommended how I could get out of my lease. And so I had to go see another doctor to get a health certificate, and I was able to break the lease that way. But that was something that was unforeseen. But I think another thing that another challenge that I hadn't expected was to have such a hard time finding a good doctor here. So my first years here, my landlord was my doctor as well, right? And he was a good doctor, and he recently retired, and I had to find a new doctor, and every doctor I called wasn't accepting new patients. And finally, I went to Dr. Lieb, which is a website to find medical professionals, and I found somebody who wasn't too far from where I am now. And I went and I've been with this doctor almost a year now, and I'm not really that satisfied. So I'm going to have to start looking again. So while I have health insurance through the system, the Carte Vitale, and that's wonderful. Finding good healthcare, and I think maybe it might be because I'm in a smaller area. I'm not in a Paris or a, Toulouse or a bigger city. But that was something that I hadn't expected or didn't think about when I moved here. Trying to think what else. The other challenge I find is that I feel like I'm doing taxes 10 months of the year. Because now in the US, we're going to start doing the taxes. That'll be done in April. Come May, I got to file my declaration here in France, and that gets filed. But then in August, you hear back, or in August, beginning of September, you hear back. And typically they don't agree with what my accountant has done, and because they don't really understand the taxes here like most people. And so I have to send them something that my accountant sends me to send to them. And it gets, this year they refunded what they took out of my account. I think it was in November. Right? So here, 2 months ago, right? So that is another thing that I find challenging. So there may be others as well, but those are the ones that pop to mind. Good question. Thank you. All right. All right. Yagami says, wow, that's great. I'm not sure what's great, but thank you. So if there are no other questions, I'm going to leave it there. As I said, that if you are, serious about making a move abroad and you're serious about not doing it alone, let's have a conversation. Go to thecouragecatalyst.com/future expat and schedule time with me. All right. So I want to thank everybody for joining and participating. And and definitely, if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, share it with friends. I appreciate you. And if you're joining on the replay, thank you for watching as well. I appreciate that. All right. All right. Thanks again. Happy New Year. See you in the next live stream. Take care. Bye-bye.